Sorry in advance that I messed up your plans. I'm serious about you. I apologize for the look that's in my eyes. I'm curious about you. If you wanna climb a mountain top, right top, but you got to be right. If you wanna climb a mountain top, right top, you got to be. She could never say I'm sorry. You could never tell me you're sorry, girl. I know you wanna figure out what we should do about this now. I just wanna take my time with it, and it's too late to signal out. I'm already about you now. I don't wanna waste no time with it. If you wanna climb a mountain top, right top, where you got to be. If you wanna climb a mountain top, right top, you got to be. She never said I'm sorry. You got to. You could never tell me you're sorry, girl. If this is a dream that you're making, we can go as far as you take it. This can be whatever we make it. And you got to be brave, brave, brave. You got to be. She never said I'm sorry. You got to. You could never tell me you're sorry, girl. She never.
The 100th anniversary edition, the Holy Bible, the 1611 King James Version. And the people whom we are debating wanted to base much of what we say and teach on the King James Version, bearing the Apocrypha books as being inspired of God, just as the 66 books of the Bible. I want to just say something about this. I went through it very carefully. And interestingly, the Apocrypha is in the Bible, but it's not of the Bible. Is in the Bible, but it's not of the Bible. And I want to
And shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to King James Bible University, Precept Mastery, and I'm Elder Michael Johnson, the pastor over here, and also with the Lost Sheep of Israel. And today, as I promised, we're going to go through a special teaching today and prove some things that what this guy is talking about. That was Maxwell. And just to show you just how it doesn't matter what age you are to be foolish, to say foolish things. And we're going to see that as you just seen that example today, just with that one there. And just to even show you a little bit of a snippet of what I want you to see and what I want you to understand is this. When you see people that do things such as that, I want to just show you something that's real quick, and then I have a couple of announcements. But I want you to look at something. I want you to take a peek over here. And what we're going to do, we're going to look at in the Apocrypha. I just want to show you something on something that the churches of Christ teach, and they love to talk and they love to teach about even gap theories that's in the Bible, where God didn't speak for 400 years. But when you look at 2nd Esdras, I want to just show you something. We're going to park over here at 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, verse 28, and it tells you, and it makes it clear right here. It says, my son Yahushua, my son Jesus. We're going to use Jesus for here because we're dealing with the people over at churches of Christ. It says, shall be revealed to them that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. It's Apocrypha. Esdras is Ezra, who wrote Chronicles also, but then they want to tell you that something is not expired. So if it wasn't expired here, then you have to remove all the Old Testament books, because the Old Testament books in the Apocrypha contains the same writers. But this is the push that they do, that they try to tell you some things. But it tells you something even clear in verse 29. It says, after these years shall my son Christ die, and all men shall have life. But when you look at Daniel, I want to show you something in Daniel and show you something. Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. We're going to see something. Speaking the same thing, it says, after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. He's going to die. And it's telling you, but not for himself. And the people and the prince shall come and destroy the city, and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. In the end of war, desolations are determined. Telling you the same thing what Esdras is actually speaking about. But most people don't know, did Daniel get this from Esdras, or did Esdras get it from Daniel? That's the catch. So just to show you a precursor where people, when you're talking about people over at a school, this is why I'm going to go into them in a certain way. Because when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with a bunch of foolish people. But people tell you why they are members of the Church of Christ, and I'm going to show you why they should remove their membership, because it's showing your intelligence staying there. It shows your intelligence. It just stays there. We're going to find out what's going on here. And as I said before, we want to look at certain things, because with that, they use the Exalted Strong's Concordance. This is what they love to use. You'll see it when you see it in their teachings. They reference the G2455s and all that, which we're going to see us doing the same thing to show you the silliness in Scripture. Because normally what I do, I try to be cool about it, and I normally didn't really go into it a lot. But mainly what I do, I show a couple of things and show you 2 or 3 words where I show you where it's errors in that exhaustive concordance based on laws and in the way that the Bible is structured, and I show you the contradictions that this exhaustive concordance has. We prove it time and time again just with those couple, but now I'm gonna go deeper into it to expose more so the lie that they actually teach from. I have to do it. Why? Because they sit there and they constantly push people. And as I said, that's why you're going to see mainly all the understandings I'm going to be pushing from is going to be coming from the Paleo-Hebrew Keyword Dictionary, which they sitting there saying that these things are made up. But as I told you before, I read and write Paleo-Hebrew, very fluent in it. And just to show you more so, we're going to see the differences in this. You're going to see the differences in the exhaustive concordance as well as you're going to see the difference in the Paleo-Hebrew. The reason why I'm going to show it to you this way and the reason it's going to be presented this way, because I'm going to show you the silliness on what people teach. So the same thing is, and then I do want to make one announcement that I do want, because I received the email earlier. And I do want this person, and her name is Sister Tasha H. Sister Tasha H, I believe she might be in here already. But I do need you to send me your email, but I need you to send me your phone number. Send me, if you can do it today or during this teaching, send me your phone number with an email. Just email me back with your number in your email, and I appreciate that. But let me go ahead and back, but I just want to make sure that announcement was made for her for another reason. But what we're going to be doing here, and why I also said what I said earlier, is why the Paleo Hebrew Keyword Dictionary is going to be removed, because we do have a lot of them who actually is purchasing these books, but then what they do, they still try to twist it with their doctrine and try to get people and keep them in bondage. And that's a pet peeve of mine. That's something I have to work on. So it's easier for me to remove it, but once I know it's removed, I already know the price. People going to start gouging people. That I know. Because they did it before. They did it on other books that I have. When the books become shortage, then they make the books go up. But it also shows you a couple of things. It shows you the valuableness of the content in the information that contained in those books. It proves that. It proves themselves time and time again. This is why you also don't see those books on sale. You don't have to put something on sale to try to move it if you know what you have is good. There's no reason for it. So what we want to do, we want to look at some things. We're going to understand some things as we go through it. But then also to show you the foolishness of the churches of Christ. We want to understand where they move from and where they push from. And the same thing as I'm going to do, we're going to keep an open forum on this. So anyone, which I know they're here, we know some of them here already. We're going to keep an open forum. And if you have a challenge of your own doctrine that I'm going to expose, and you have a challenge of it, all you have to do is just sit there and let us know. We have moderators that are here. Let us know. I promise you, my wife Nema will let me know, and I will open up Zoom to open and give you the floor to where you can present your doctrine. Because I'm going to pull your doctrine. I'm not here to talk about the men, but I'm here to talk about the men who teach error. I'm here to teach doctrine. I'm here to show you what you teaching is a 100% total lie. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to sit there to bash anything, but to also get people who part of these places to where they need to really understand what these people teach. These people teach a doctrine that is doctrines of devils. And this is why it's so important. You need to really watch. Everybody need to really watch. Not just them, but watch any person, me included. You try the spirits and see are they from God. You make sure when someone teach you Bible, they can show you Bible and reference that and make sure they can give you one verse. And then it takes them 30 minutes to explain that one verse to make it twist back to what they want you to do. That Bible should not be pushing them anywhere, because the Bible is not about that man. That Bible is not about that preacher. That Bible is not about no person. It's about how to get salvation from God. It has nothing to do with a man, a building, a church, period. But this is what they teach. That's why they want you to get you there. That's why they want you to go to these places. That's why they want to hold you to these type of doctrines. Anybody goes to any church, and the main thing is what we do. We sit there and we talk about these Christians and what Christians do. Christians holds on to a doctrine. They holds on to a religion. And getting salvation from God has nothing to do with a religion, a practice that you're going to do every week, where you're going to give money every week, where you go there and you sit there and this man sits in from the pulpit and acts as if he's God, but you'll say he's not. But you're treating him as God. So we need to find out what's going on, because just as I said, we're going to go through their book, why they are members of the churches of Christ. They had this book as one of their top selling books. And we're going to go through it, and I'm going to show you pieces, because what happened is I was speaking to one of the guys who he keeps in contact with me, and Me and him talks back and forth, but he's in contact with them. And they like to send messages through him. And what they keep sitting there doing, now we have this fifth ward. Fifth ward, it's a crazy house. That's why I put the crazy house there. It's a crazy house. Fifth ward. All you gotta do is think fifth ward. It shows you these men are crazy. It shows you these men teach a crazy doctrine. If you sit there and then as soon as they say they're Christians, they teaching something that has 45,000 plus different denominations of that type of religion. It shows you it's crazy. And it should be only one doctrine. But there's 45,000 plus different denominations of it. So we got to go through it. We want to understand it. And we're going to prove everything that I'm saying. We're going to see, because I got my board and everything ready. To where you're going to find out. Now, a little bit more, a lot more deeper, how dangerous that Strong's Concordance is in the man that teaches from them. All the men that teaches from them, because all of them go G34, 45. I'm going to show you all this. And I'm going to show you the dangers of it. And it's going to go right against the Paleo-Hebrew Keyword Dictionary. Because you need to be cautious of those. Make sure those words is translated from the translator, making sure that everything goes correct. So let's look at this, and we're going to look at something. We want to understand a lot about this, because the Church of Christ and their elders, they teach and they believe that you can actually be saved. You can actually be saved by the blood of Christ. And they talk that it need to be a bloody sacrifice. It has to be bloody. I want you to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. Now, we're going to go into this. We're going to look at some things. I want you to make sure you understand them. And I want to show you this to make sure that you keep this in mind all the time. When you look at something, I'm going to show you this, and then we're going to go and do what we need to do. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 50, 15 and verse 50, I want you to pay attention to something. I want you to look real close at it, and you hold it. Actually, let me clear this. And let me clear that page and do this back again. And we want to do 1550, because I want you to understand this here. It says, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither do corruption inherit incorruption. I want you to pay attention to that. So when we see something physical, and it's talking about a physicality of something that is happening. So if flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, we're going to see over here in this here, and this is the page of the book that they use. And it says, because it teaches that a man is saved by the blood of Christ. So we know here that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. So here, they sitting there, they talking about, they're using two physical representations of something, which two physical representations, meaning that they clearly didn't understand what they said. Because we're going to see, we're going to go back over here and we're going to look, and then we're going to start tearing stuff down to understand exactly what was happening. And this is on page 109 of their page. So if you have that book, it's on page 109. 109 is there. And I want you to understand what it's saying. So let's look at this. And it says, the significance of blood is the divine economy in all ages that has been the efficiency in procuring power in blood. I want you to pay attention how they formulated this and understand it. It says, the sacrifice of blood has always been a sacrifice of life. Pay attention to what he's saying. And I want the moderators to make sure they're doing, because they're talking about a life that has to die. This is what this is saying in the physical realm on what they're saying, because we're going to see what it's talking about. We're going to see what it's talking about. We're going to go back to the scripture and look at it. And it's telling you right here, it's a sacrifice of life. For the blood is life. Deuteronomy, quoting 12:23. So we're going to go there. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at it because as I teach over here, don't never let people quote verses like this and they don't put the verse in front of you, because they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. You always want to know what they're telling you, what they're talking about, and what they're saying. So we're going to look at this real close. In Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23, it's telling you right here. It says, only be sure that thou eat not the blood. So we do have a problem here, because it's telling you that it always has been a sacrifice of life. But he's telling you over here that don't eat the blood. For the blood is life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. This is a 100% contradiction already, but that's beside the point. Because it's telling you that sacrifice of blood has always been sacrifice of life, for blood is the life. In each dispensation, again, they don't know what that means. We're going to find out what all this means, because we're going to look at the Strong's Concordance, then we're going to look at what it says in Paleo. And we know that God has demanded a sacrifice of a bloody nature. I want you to understand these things. So they're talking about blood and they're talking about bloody. Blood and bloody. And with the moderators, if you can please make sure you put with the blood, put life / also lifestyle. Because we're gonna make sure those are all completely understood. We want to make sure those are all understood. These things has to be said and understood. And we want to make sure we understand what is happening all the time. We want to understand what people is saying all the time. And the same thing is, I want to make sure with the moderators, we have people like that, they putting in these little long, stupid sayings that they want to say on themselves. They do it one more time. Make sure you remove them. I don't have time to play little stupid games like people like that. This is something where people come over, oh, well, we're going to put this and we're going to put that in there. No, you go to your own little dumb platform that you do that kind of stupidity at, or you go teach one. I'm not here to play games. When we deal with scripture, I do not play games. I'm not here to play, and I'm glad Deacon Emmanuel is in. If that wig walk or whatever the word he want to call his name is, yeah, you time him out. But he do it again, you bounce him out. You bounce him out. You let him stay this time, but he put something else in there, you take him out, because we don't have time today to play games with him. So this is what we want to understand, because we got blood and bloody. We want to understand we want to understand everything between the two, because we do know a couple of things when it says this. In Romans chapter 8 and verse 8, we want to look at that also. Romans 8 and chapter 8 in verse 8. We want to look at something. And it says, so then that they that are in the flesh cannot please God. So we know that also. Appreciate it, Deke. But we know that. So since we know that, I'm going to show you something. And it's telling us this here. So we understand blood and bloody. Now you see blood, and we're going to pour this, and now let me switch over. I'm going to show you something to where we can look at it. I want to make sure you understand what's going on. And we got to go over here to here, and I want to make sure that everything is being seen, that people can see everything pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put blood here. Blood, and we know blood is life. And lifestyles. It can go either way. And the same thing is, this is pulling from our Paleo Hebrew side. This is what we're doing. But I'm going to pull another one. Now, bloody is different. And I'm going to do this early, so when we go later, we'll fully understand what's going on. So bloody is cruel. We know it's cruel. One, it's merciless. It's murderous. And lifeless. And it has a few other ones, but I'm not going to put them there. But it has a few other meanings there. Those are there. But those are there. So you see it here on the board, and you also see it, they put them in the chat. So if you miss it, that's on you. So we know that that's what this means. So now what I want to do is pull up what they're going to say and what it is. And that's why we see them now already. It's an issue already on what they're saying. Because I want to show you blood This is this is out of their strong concordance, which I'm pulling, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you their meanings also. And I want to pull bloody, which is this one. And I already see it had this meaning there. So 1 second, let me move this over a little bit. 1 second. Let me move some of this over some. Let me move this over some. Let me move this over some. Making sure this is I want to make sure the bloody, I'm trying to get the bloody all in. I'm trying to get the bloody all in. Or what I could do, I could just do this. Because some of that down there we don't need anyway. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, oh, well, it's going to stay. Okay, so we got blood and bloody. And let me make this a little bit smaller. Because we need it all there. We need it all there. So now, what I want you to understand is this. We have blood and bloody. We have both of them there, but they're using Strong's Concordance. They're using the Strong's Concordance. So now with the bloody, they're using H1818, which it tells you is using the same thing as blood. It tells you that right there. You see it right there. Actually, what I do, I will also make this a I'm going to take this and I'm going to do it another way. I'm going to make this, 1 second, and I'm going to put it up. I'm going to see if I can make that a little bit larger for you. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste that in there, and I'm going to make this larger. And now everybody should see that's what this means. That's what this one means right here. This is pulling directly from their Strong's Concordance. So it says, as which cause a man or animal, or by anal or by juice of grapes, figuratively speaking, blood shed, drops, bloody, guiltless, thirsty. This is figuratively what blood is, or bloody means. But we also want to know what blood means to them, to the Strong's Concordance. We want to understand what blood means. And one of the main ones that they use, they're still using the same thing. You see this H1818? You still see it here. You still see it right there, 1818. You still see the same one. It's used 342 times. But let's grab the other one, that 99. Let's see what 99 actually holds for them. Even though the main one is that one. The main one is that one there. So we need to know what the 129 is. So I'm getting ready to pull 129 there. And 1 second, G129. Let me get to it in G129, not seeing 129. And actually there we go right there. But I want to make sure it's saying the same and it's tied to the same thing, but it's not showing. So what I'm going to do, we want to pull scripture, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull some scripture up. And I'm going to go to Blue Letter, which most people know I can't stand that place, but we're going to go there. I'm going to go to Blue Letter Bible. I'm going to go to Blue Letter Bible. 1 second, I just want to get it all set up. Went to the wrong place. Okay, let me switch this back real quick. We're going to get some understanding here. And then we're going to come back what I was doing. So what we want to do, we want to look at blood. We want to look at blood. So we're going to go right back to Deuteronomy. And let me see quick. Now we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23. We're going to go back there. And then, because I want to still pour in the same thing, I want 12:23. Deuteronomy 12:23. We want that. Because we want those two bloods there. So we're going to pour that, and you're going to see which one they're using. They're using H1818, as what we said. They're using that. As well as bloody is the same thing. So when you click on this here, It's telling you here where it's translating in the Strongs, it's telling you blood, bloody. So you see, it's using it all in the same context. But it's not telling you anything. It's not telling you functionally what's working. In concordance supposed to give you functionally how things work. And you see that's not there. This is where the problem is. This is why we have the problem we have. Because you don't know the functionally what's happening. Because now we have the same thing that's here for the blood is the life. And that's all it's telling you about. It's talking about this bloodshed. So the bloodshed is the life. So that's all you have. But the thing that you have to remember is when you're dealing with Paleo-Hebrew, it gives you functions of things. So it tells you the same thing on what you see here. Because it's telling you when we're looking at Deuteronomy chapter 12:12, we got to go back and look at the lifestyle in the life of it. So let's go back there with that full understanding on what it was saying and see is it going to come up and it's going to make sense besides what they said. That's what we want to see. Is it going to make any sense? Is it going to make any sense? So now let's go back and we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23. It says, only be sure that thou eat, and we want to understand what eat is. We're going to find out what that is even later also. So it's saying, do not learn not the lifestyle. So we're not to learn of the lifestyle. For the lifestyle is the life, or the life is the life, meaning life for life, or the lifestyle is life. Thou may have not learned that life with the flesh. Because if you learn it with flesh and blood is not going to enter into the kingdom. But if you use it the way that they're telling you, let's look at that. Let's look back at it and see what it's saying. When you look back at this and you more so understand what it's talking about again, we see. Let's look at it. So it's telling you here, it's not giving you anything. It's not giving you anything there that it's comparing to. So it's just telling you blood, wine, figs. That's biblical usage. That's telling you right there. Biblical usage. And is used in the manner of blood and bloody. So if we use them bloody, which we have, which is merciless, which is cruel, we're going to find out later exactly is working. So now we don't understand anything based from the concordance. Because we're looking at the concordance right there. We didn't learn anything. So now what happens is people start interpreting what it's saying because they don't know the foundational understanding on how words is functioning, because all words function because they are living, breathing things. So since we know that, we have to understand how they function, how they work. And since we don't know how they work, all we got is blood and bloody. That's it. This is the problem we have. This is the issue that's going on now. This is why it's so important, again, to pay close attention to what it's saying right here. And it's telling you about something that you can't see. And he's telling you even more so. It says, for each dispensation, God has demanded a sacrifice of a bloody nature. He's demanding this, is what he's saying here. So we need to understand what these dispensations and everything, what it actually is. What is it? So if this sacrifice, and we want to understand what a sacrifice is. So let me pull up sacrifice. We're going to pull up sacrifice and find out what sacrifice is according to their understanding. To their understanding, we want to see what it is. And let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. We want to understand what it is. I thought I had it. Let me see. I thought I pre-cut that, but I didn't. No worries. And I can still pull it. So what I'm going to do, actually, they got quite a bit of it. They got quite a bit of them. Because they got sacrifice, so I'm going to have to do them in pieces because they got a lot of things here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this first one. So give me 1 second. And I'm going to put that here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to take these down, and we're going to go to the next one. Because we want to know what this sacrifice is. And they're using this here. And they actually got it quite a bit. So we want to understand what this means also. We got to understand what this means. Because it's telling you God demanding a bloody sacrifice. He's demanding a bloody sacrifice. I want you to understand what he's saying here. But I want to make sure we're all on the same page. He's demanding a bloody sacrifice. So we got here where sacrifice here used 3 times and using that Strong's number. And we see this one here. That's 2077. So we're going to hold this sacrifice on what he's talking about, and we're going to see what he's talking about to find out. So the only way we can do this, we need to find out what sacrifice is according to Strong's Concordance, according to these numbers. And we really looking for the number 2077. So let's pull something and let's see if we can all get it together. So we can do that together. And hopefully we can find it. So let's do something, and we're going to find something here. So let's put in sacrifice to where we can find it. And it's telling us here, let's see, sacrifice. In sacrifice, I see 2085. We see 1685. But the one we want is 2077, which is this one here. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to go back and show it to you again. So let me show it to you again to make sure we're not trying to do anything wrong to anybody. We want to see it. So what I did, I got that up. So what I want to do, we have this up. I want to show it to you to where you can see it. So now what we did, we pulled up sacrifice, which is 20. Do you see it right here? 2077 is the one that I wanted. And you see it here. And they're using that as the etymology. So it means sacrifice. So sacrifice, it means sacrifice, offering. That's what that is. And it's telling you here the biblical use of sacrifice is sacrifice of righteousness, sacrifice of strife, sacrifice of dead things, covenant, sacrifice, and Passover. Annual sacrifice. Everybody with me on that? I want you to understand what. So this is Strong's Concordance of sacrifice. So when he says sacrifice, this is your understanding. Now to make sure we understand what's going on, we have to find out what that is. So with that 2077, we're going to look at it again, and this is what sacrifice is. I want you to stay with me on this. Now let's understand what sacrifice is. And I can put it in there, and I know most of my students will tell you exactly what a sacrifice is. Because we're going to look at this all together. Sacrifice. I'm going to put it in here. What it is. Sacrifice is so it's an established covenant. That's what a sacrifice is. It can be a vow. And in place of. Every now and then you'll see that. That'll pop up every now and then. So you got to watch sometime. That's why we always tell people, watch scripture, because you got to pay real close attention, because that can sometimes trip you up. And but once you know what it is, so we know sacrifice is an established covenant. We know that. And you'll see probably my moderator probably put it in there before I even put this in there. I'm just now saying that they already put it in there for you. But I'm just showing you what a sacrifice is. So the main thing is we want to go back and look at it, because a sacrifice is telling you sacrifice of righteousness, sacrifice. But you can see right there, it's not telling you anything. It's not telling you nothing. But let's look at this in its fullness. Let's look at it in its fullness. That's the only way we can find out. And let's see, let's find sacrifice. We're going to find sacrifice. So now it's saying, here it says, then Jacob offered sacrifice upon them on the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat bread and tarried all night in the mount. So if it's just a sacrifice, just sacrificing stuff, then that's all that is. But let's look at it in the way that Paleo has it. So now it's saying that Jacob offered a covenant. He offered a vow upon the mount, is what he did, and called his brethren and eat bread. That's what he was saying. And you'll see this even when we go down to Exodus. We're going to look at the Exodus. It says, and they shall hearken unto thy voice, and thou shalt come, and thou and the elders of Israel unto the king of Egypt, and say unto him, the Spirit of God of heaven of the Hebrews have met with us, and let us go. We beseech thee 3-day journey in the wilderness, that we may sacrifice, we may establish covenants to the Spirit of our God. Did that make sense? I'm gonna wait for a minute, but did that make sense now? Because we got to establish covenants with our God. Do that make sense? Or do it make sense just sacrifice? You tell me. Do it make sense now? Now do it make very good sense to you? Now you see what's going on. We have to understand these words as living, breathing things, and we have to understand what they are. And when we understand what they are, that's why I say the people going to say things and they just telling you, oh, it means this. Oh, it means this. We had some guys sitting there, oh, he's sitting there, he's making a word. What I'm going to be making up some words for? What will it benefit me? It's not going to benefit me anything. It's not going to benefit me anything. But we need clarity. Let's go down to verse. Let's go down to, we're going to look at another one. And then we're going to leave from Moses' writing. We're going to go to somebody else's writing with the same identical sacrifice. And it says, and say to the God of the Hebrews. It says, he had met with us, and let us go and pray these days journey and sacrifice and establish covenants unto the Spirit of God. Lest we fall upon with pestilence with the sword. Yeah, because we don't sit there and we don't establish something, then we're going to have a problem. And appreciate it. Thank you, Deke. Thank you, Deke. I'm sitting there. You know I do that, so I appreciate it. So let me go there. I appreciate it. Every now and then he got to show. So appreciate Deke keeping me online, making sure, because I'm moving stuff back and forth, and I appreciate you. So we're showing you these verses here. So I'm going to show you another verse because I didn't have it on the verse and showing it to you. So let me show the verse of what's going on. Dick know I'm old, so hey, look over me on some of this. And then we're going to see another one right here. We're going to see another identical one right here. And it says, in a tile of bricks that did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them, ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go sacrifice to our God. Let us go make a vow to our God. Let us establish covenants to our God. That's what they're saying. Sacrifice, if it's sacrifice just killing stuff, then we just lost everything. But besides that, let's not just deal with Moses' writings. We need to deal with other ones. And all in here, we got Moses' writings. So what we want to do, we want to go out of Moses' writings. We want to get in someone else's writings. We want to get in someone else's writings. We need to look at this. So let's get out of these and let me see. Let's go over here to Judges. And we'll see again the same thing. It says, then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice, to offer a great covenant, to offer a great vow unto Dagon, their God. That's what he's doing. They're going to make this great vow and rejoice, for they said, it's telling you what you seeing what getting ready to go down. Our God hath delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. So they're going to make a great vow with him. He's the man. He's the man. This is what it is. This is what an established covenant is. This is what it is. This is what's going on here. This is why this is so important. This is why it is so important to pay attention to what's going on. So let's look at another one. We're going to go down and we're going to look at another one here. We're going to look at another one here and go down some more. We're going to go down a little bit more. And let me move over here to Old Testament. We're going to pop some in New Testament. And we'll see here in we're going to find some again in Jeremiah 33 and verse 18. Jeremiah 33 verse 18. Jeremiah says this. It says, neither shall the priests, the Levites, want man before me to offer burnt offerings. And we're going to find out what that is. And it says to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice to establish covenants continually. That's all he's saying. So they establish covenants. They're establishing vows continually. This is what's going on. This is why it's so important to pay real close attention. And this is why when people use Strong's Concordance, you're not getting any understanding. You're not getting any understanding because I just showed you what it is. Actually, let me see. Y'all pardon me because I don't use it, so sometimes I don't know how to use it that well. So we'll go right back to it. It's 2077, same one we've been using. Same one we've been using. And when you look at it, it's a sacrifice. That's all sacrifice means. In Strong's Concordance, sacrifice means sacrifice. That's what it means. Sacrifice. It means sacrifice. But they don't know how it functions. They don't know how it moves, how it moves around. This is why it's important to understand Paleo Hebrew, because you can understand the spiritual side and understand the function of those words. This is why I tell you, when people sit there and you see people who teach, they'll say, Hebrew is so you can't really talk about what it is. Just real, I can't pronounce, I can't say what it really, because it's so important and how that's why they do that. And I have seen preachers do that all day long. You can't really say what it means in English because it has so much importance. No, they don't understand precepts. Number one, and they don't understand Paleo. Number two, they'll tell you they understand Hebrew, but they don't. They'll tell you they understand Greek, and they don't. You got people sitting there and they teach both, and they don't understand neither one. The reason why is because you got to understand the functioning behind the words. You got to understand how these words move, how these words move around. This is why the Paleo Hebrew Keyword Dictionary, that's why it was so important. This is why they sit there and it was so hated. But it was one of the number one sellers with the Jewish communities. It's weird, isn't it? It's one of the number one sellers with them. And we want to complain. This is the problem we have. So we want to look at something else because they tell us something that was really important in here. They said something that was really important in there, and I want you to see that also. I want you to see something. We're going to look at these all together because it's telling you something about these dispensations. Dispensations. So we need to find out what that is, and I believe I do have that there. And I believe I did do the dispensation. If I didn't, which I didn't do that. I thought I did. I do apologize. But let me put that in there. Let me put dispensation in there. And we're going to find out what that is. And once we find out what that is, in their way, then we can actually move forward and find out what it's actually saying. Because I'm gonna tell you, they use that quite a bit. Dispensation. They use that quite a bit. This they use unreal. In this dispensation, that dispensation, this dispensation, that dispensation. That's why they do this. So we want to look at that, and they're using G3622. This is one of the dispensations on what they do. So let's look at that, and let's find out what that dispensation is. We want to find out what it is. And let me see, 3620. It's not pulling there. 1 second. 3620. If not, I'll pull it over there, so it's no big deal. Yeah. So let me pull it over there. Let me pull it. Let me put it over here, and we can pull it. We can get what we need to do. And there's no problem for us doing it, but we just want to make sure we being fair with them. So we're gonna put in dispensation. We want to find that out and see in dispensation in this Strong's, what it's telling us it's used 4 times in the Bible, which it is in there. So let's look at one of them, and we're going to find out what this dispensation is. But we want, excuse me, what it's talking about. Same thing, what it said, 36:22. In the same thing as it said 36:22, same thing, I'm going to show it to you. In what I said, we're using the same one. That's why I said it's right here. 36:22. It's saying, telling us right here. Right in this one. 36:22. So we see it. But we need to know what the Strong's Concordance, what it's saying. We need to know what it is saying. In here in dispensation, it's telling us right here. Dispensation is used 4 times, which it says stewardship, and it's talking about the management of a household or household affairs. Specifically, the management, oversight, administration, and others' properties. The office of a manager, overseer, stewardship, administration, dispensation. That's what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about. So we need to understand what that is talking about and get what it's doing. So we know that it's saying this here. This is the main culprit that they're using. So we want to use that. And I'm going to take that and we're going to put that back over there. And we want to sit there and we want to put that what dispensation is. This is what dispensation is. And the main thing is the same thing, like I said, people get upset when they shown that they actually don't know scripture. People get upset behind this. But it's telling you the management of a household or household affairs. But now, is that telling you anything with G 36:22? It's telling you how something kind of works. They got that kind of right. But dispensation, according to Paleo Hebrew, which you have to actually pull it over into Greek to actually correct it. So we're going to look at dispensation and see what it says. Dispensation. So dispensation, we got to look at the functioning and how it actually works, how it moves. That's what we want. So we want administration. Administration, work, and we have a duty or an obligation. That's the dispensation. That's dispensation. That is what that's going on. Now, what they doing under this one, under ours, is what goes on. So now we got to go back, and we understand it's an administration, it's a work, it's a duty, it's an obligation. So now we can actually put that in there. It's not a management, but let's go back and look at it with understanding. We got to go back to the scriptures and look at it with full understanding now of dispensation. And let's look at this again. And let's go back. And we're going to go back. So we have the 4 here. We have the 4 here. We're going to look at them. And so now it says, for if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation, a administration, see this a obligation of the gospel, of the message, not good news, of the message is committed unto me. You see what he's saying? Please see what's going on. This is why it's showing you exactly what's happening. This is why it works that way. And we're going to get down to the main thing, why you're going to see bloody and blood is why he's talking so crazy. But this is the issue that we have. This is the biggest issue we have. So we know now, when you look at it, it says, if ye have heard of the dispensation of grace, if you had heard of the work of the grace, if you have heard of the administration of the grace, it's telling you everything. This is the difference. Wherever I made a minister according to the dispensation, according to the work, according to the administration, according to the obligation of God, which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of God. You see how much more clear. You don't have to sit there and get, well, it means this, it means that. And now they can sit there and it opens them up to where they can now interpret it however they want to interpret it. But the Bible is absolute. So if it's absolute, what's the issue? But this is the problem when you're dealing with a strong concordance, dealing with paleo, Hebrew keyword dictionaries. It's a difference. It's a difference. So this is why we have a problem. Because now we also understand one important thing, that flesh and blood is something else, and flesh and blood is a comparison to something else. Flesh and blood is a comparison to something else, because we know flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. We know that. So if it can't inherit the kingdom of God, so it's giving you a comparison, because something can. Something can and something can't. Flesh and blood can't, but something can. And we want to understand what that means, and we're going to pull some information to help us out. We're going to find this in Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Just get to understand it, because flesh and blood ain't going to get in there. Because the flesh and with the blood in it, is it telling you, because blood is in the life. So if it's saying that, it said, and then the works of the flesh are made known, which are these. And you may not eat, you may not learn of the life with the flesh, because it's going to be made known right here. It's made known. Mean, which of these? It's adultery. Can adultery inherit the kingdom of God? You tell me. Fornication, can it? Fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance. Can these things enter into the kingdom of God? No. No, it's impossible. That's the point of this. I'm telling you, this is the point. So we know, since flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, why in the world is this man telling you something that's contrary to it, which we're going to find out later? We're going to bust him. He can't get around it, because he's telling you, for the blood is a life. In each dispensation, God has demanded a sacrifice of a bloody nature. Of a bloody nature. Are we understanding this? Please tell me if we understanding this or not. Yes or no? Just, are we understanding of this? Are we seeing this and what's going on? Do you see this? Do we see what they doing and they telling you something that's happening, but they telling you something else? This is the silliness on what goes on in the churches of Christ. They tell you something and they use the books. They use that concordance and telling you right up front, this is what this means, this is what, and then they can move on and they can interpret it, because they don't, the strong concordance don't give you the functionality of those words. Because they can't. It's impossible. They can't do it. So all they do, and what you see in the past, what they do, they can't come against the doctrine that I teach. But what they do, they'll come after me. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's the master. Oh, I'm going to expose the master Hebraeus doctrine. I'm exposing the master Hebraeus doctrine. Really? I don't have a doctrine. That's a profession. That's a profession. It get frustrating, and it get more frustrating. The reason why, and it's not getting frustrating with you guys, because people who want to learn, I want to make sure you understand it. So I don't have that issue. But we have these these shady men. They constantly do this. So we need to understand what the difference is between the two. Because we have flesh and blood, but it's a comparison with something. It's a comparison with something. And I want to make sure you write this down, make sure the moderators put it in there. So flesh and blood is comparing with works and spirit. Are you with me? I'm going to say it again. Flesh and blood is the comparison of works and spirit. I'm going to say it again, to where we'll get it. Flesh and blood is the comparison when we move to the spiritual side of works and spirit. Let's look at something. I want to show you something. We're going to go to John, and we're going to look at chapter 3, verse 8. John chapter 3, verse 8. Verse 8. Let's look at something. Let's look at something. And you see this. It says, the wind bloweth where it lists, and you hear the sound thereof, but thou canst tell from which it's coming, whether it goeth or everyone that is born of spirit. Wow. Because he's telling you something, wants you to really get something. Because when you go up here and you look at a little bit further up, you're going to see something that makes all the sense in the world, because he's telling you. Spirit, you don't know where it is, but it said that which is born, that is brought forth of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born, brought forth of spirit is spirit. But with the spirit, you only can see the works from what's going on. That's it. You can't see anything. All you can do is see the works of it. Let's see if we can work that out. Let's see if we can work some of that out. And when you look at this in John chapter 14, picking it up at verse 11, it's going to say something, but watch how it works it out. Because he's telling you exactly what we want to need and what we need to understand. It says, believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, based on spirit. And he says, or else believe me for the very work's sake. For the very work's sake. Believe me. Hold on one second. So that's what we need to see, for the very work's sake, so you can see it. Can't see the spirit, but you can see the work. You can see the results of what he's doing. That's important. This is why it's so important to really understand when Yahushua, or Jesus in this case, what they want to understand, why we have to see the same thing. Why he said, if you have seen him, you've seen the creator. If you've seen him, you've seen the creator, because which the creator is in heaven. But then that's why flesh is flesh and spirit is spirit. That's why it's that way. This is why it's so important when you have men saying that they're talking about how much they hate this person. They hate me. They hate that. They hate these people. They hate us over here. How can you sit there and say that you hate us and you love God? They're speaking nonsense. That shows you they don't even know God. That shows you 100% they don't have no understanding on who God is. Let's build on that together. We're gonna go over here to 1 John. We're gonna look at this in chapter 4, and we're gonna look at verse 20. Show you why. We're gonna have a conversation on it, because it makes all the sense in the world when we really understand Scripture and how people don't understand Scripture. It says, if a man say, I love God and hate his brother, you can see him, he is a liar. He's a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he have not seen? You ain't seen God. You can see the results. You can see the works of God. That makes you see God. That makes you see God. That's the representation on what you need to see. So how is that possible? How are you going to sit there and tell, well, I love God, but you hate your brother. You love God, but you hate this man. You love God, but you hate this person. You love God and you hate your wife. You love God and you hate your husband. How is that possible? How is that possible? You're being clearly shown what the truth is. Not in those buildings, because they're going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you. These men are liars. They are professional, trained liars. Not one of them. Every teacher in a church of Christ is a liar. If he teaches there, he is a liar. I don't care who he is. You can't even pay him to stand in front of me. He gonna answer these questions. Oh, we're gonna make him mad. We had $1 million put up for them to answer 3 questions. So they stayed hidden like roaches when the sun come out. And then when it get back dark, they want to talk all this stupidity. This is showing you what's going on. So the same thing is, if you see the Father which is in heaven do the works, and then you'll see the works of the devil, and you're going to see the works of that. The reason why I'm saying that is this, because you have men say things. They say things, and this is from anywhere in churches, buildings, camps, anywhere. They'll say these things. And I'm going to show you something to show you the main point on what I want you to see and what we're going to understand. Because he's telling you something that's true, but we have people who chooses not to see what the truth is. And it's telling you, in no marvel, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14, in no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. He's going to come to you humble. Transformed into an angel of light. Talking in love, dragging their voices to try to get you to that hypnotism that comes in on it. Sitting there, they want to sing songs, get you happy. And while they doing that, they transform themselves into an angel of light, telling you to come there. Therefore, it is no great thing that his ministers also is transferred into ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. To their works. Not God's works, to their works. This is the reason why we hold on to this so much. I'll show you something. And watch how many people, no matter what, they'll see this time and time and time again, and they still going to go in there. Promise you that. This is why I say so many people deserve to go to hell. They deserve to go to hell. They should go to hell. Let me show you something. Why I'm even saying it, and it even makes me angry. Because it's telling you something right up front. In Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24, it says, for Christ has not entered into holy places made with hands. He's not there. But we gotta congregate. I'm telling you, you should go to hell. You should bust it wide open. Go there without a chaser. Boy, you should bust it wide open because it's right in front of you. Christ ain't there. But we can't forsake assembly. You gonna contradict? He ain't there. But I'm gonna go. I'm going. We can't. You let this man woo you. Please stay there. You should go to hell. You should go. He already told you he ain't there. Oh, well, we can't forsake us. We can't forsake. You know, we got to go to church. You know, we have to go to the building. He ain't there. I'm telling you, boy. Oh boy, Acts chapter 17, looking at verse 24. In the same thing, they're going to keep sitting there. They're going to keep holding. Oh, God is there. God is there. God ain't there. It's telling you the same identical thing in Acts chapter 17, verse 20. It says, God who made the world and all things there, seeing that he is the creator of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. You see it. You see it. It's right there. You see it. And the first thing you'll do on tomorrow, you're going to show up in that building. And then you gonna when he come, he gonna say, Lord, Lord, get your butt away from me. This is the problem. Because you listening to men who done transform themselves, they're gonna look the part, they're gonna talk the part. Ain't nothing tying you between me and you. Nothing tying us. You don't see no, tell me, do you see a donation button? The only reason I don't put the join things on here, because I won't tell you why. They want you to put up some money. I don't need that. If I can join just to make sure people who just be part of it, to come in there and they didn't have to pay, I would join button be there. But since they want to make sure everybody puts some money up there, no, it's not for that, because this word is free. This word is free. But I guarantee you, you're going to pay these monies to these people, and you're going to go in there swearing up and down that God is in, the God who made the world, everything therein sin, he is the creator of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. And the first thing we gonna do is walk in there. Walk in there. Deserve to go to hell. You should go to hell. You, your mama, your daddy, your child, your husband, your wife, you should go to hell walking in that building. I don't care who you are. This channel goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Because when you want to play that kind of ignorance, in the Bible telling you, you got it in your hand and it's saying the same thing mine says, and you sit there and you go sit in that building, you should go to hell. You should go. I don't know why you're saying it that way. Boo-boo! Because blood is a representation of something. As we said from the beginning, it's a life. It's a lifestyle. We told you that. Actually, let me. Boy, I said I won't even get mad, but sometimes I just do it. Sometimes I just get mad. So let me show you something. In Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11, I want to show you something on this lie that they keep pushing. This lie over there that they keep pushing. Because they keep saying, we're going to get to that bloody. We're going to get to the bloody. We're going to get to that bloody. We're going to get to that. I promise you we're going to get to that. Because that's what we want to make sure of. In Leviticus chapter 17, picking up at verse 11, we want to look at something. We want to make sure we understand what's going on. And it says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, is in the lifestyle. Is what? Adultery. You can see it. You can see it. And let's look at something. It says, it has been given to you to put upon the altar. But why? Because I'm going to tell you even more so why we can't even get around it. What color is blood? It's red. It's a reminder of sin. Blood is the reminder of sin. It's red. Red is a reminder of sin. You can't get around it. So you see the blood, hey, this is sin. This is sin. This is flesh. This flesh and blood is all this is sin. We need to give this stuff up. But we can't even do that. We're going to listen to a fool standing in a pulpit and you're going to say, yeah, yes, uh-huh. And you're going to sit your butt there. You're going to sit there. And that's telling you to remind. So the churches of Christ, and then it tells you in the statement of the book, it's telling you right there, they need a bloody nature. They need something of a bloody nature. They need a bloody sacrifice. A bloody sacrifice is what it's telling you. So we're seeing what blood is. Bloody. That's what the Strong Concordance showed us. Bloody. It showed us that. And blood means life. Blood means a lifestyle. let's look at something. I apologize, you guys, for getting angry. But the way it's coming across, I don't apologize for it. But the main thing is, what I'm telling you, I meant it with every bit of it. In Genesis chapter 9, picking it up at verse 4, it says this. It says this again. It says, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, ye shall not learn. So it's telling you, so this body of the life thereof, which the lifestyle thereof, ye shall not learn of. Don't learn of that. Don't do that. Not what he's saying. It need a bloody. It's telling you it need a bloody nature. He's telling you God demands this sacrifice. Just something just got to go down. I'm telling you. We can't get around this. So we know that this eat is learn, and the flesh is the works, is the body. Let me show you something. Let's look at verse 5. Let's look at something. I want to show you something. It says, and surely your lifestyle of your lives, surely your lifestyle of your life, surely your lifestyle of your life will I require. Go out there and play like you playing like stupid. Go out there like that. I'm gonna require it. He's telling you I'm going to require this. At the hand of every beast, every evil man, where I done had this book in your hand and you done acted a fool. And I will require it. And at the power of man, at the power of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. He's going to require that from you. And you can't sit there. I didn't know. Lord, I didn't get it. Really, you didn't. But you was going in this building every day. Did not you see that I don't reside in buildings made with hands? Did you know? Did you see that there? But Lord, I got you, Lord. Don't forsake considering me. He said, you little dummy. This is the problem. This is the problem. So many people, and see, and the same thing is, the churches of Christ, sit there. Please sit there. We got 2 million plus going to bust hell wide open that we ain't got to worry about. 2 million of them don't have to worry about it. Why? Sit there. Stay there till the breath leaves your body. And then you're going, someone's smoking. Yeah, it's you. It's you. It's you. This is what's going on. So we got to remember, the blood is showing you nothing more but the blood of a physical similitude that represents your lifestyle. Sin. This is why so much confusion in the Bible here, why you got 45,000 plus different understandings on the same subject in Christian religion. They don't understand the similitudes. And God told you this from the beginning. Listen, boy. Boy. In Psalms chapter 70, actually we need 78. I'm saying 70, let's go to 78. Verse 2. Let's look at something. He says, I open my mouth in a parable. I'm going to open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. He's going to give you similitudes. He's telling you this out of his own mouth. Out of his own mouth, he's telling you, this is how I'm going to talk to you. People go around with God told me the other. God ain't told you nothing. He only talked to Moses. And you, God told me, well, God told me. God ain't told you nothing. Absolutely nothing. So the same thing with people who teach and uses those types of doctrines and stuff like that. And they don't understand the parables. They don't understand those. So we know the same thing, and it tells you what goes on here. It says the thorn goes up in the hand of a drunkard. So is the parable in the mouth of fools. They're fools. Not one of those pastors that were the Church of Christ, all of them. Not one of them, all of them. Well, some of them, no, all of them. It's more than 7,000 pastors over there with the Churches of Christ. All of them are fools. Every one of them. And people sit there is going to go to hell based on trying to sit there and agree with flesh. And you want to agree with flesh. And flesh is going to go to hell. And all you trying to do, you trying to find out something different. This is why so many people get caught up based on trying to believe in a man and not believe in what this doctrine is telling you. In Job chapter 33, verse 4, it says this, and it's telling you even more so. He's telling you more so how I told you. It said, the Spirit of God had made me, and the breath of the Almighty have given me life. So when he move, you move. He move, you move. Like a tree. Like a tree. Let's look at this. We'll go a little bit deeper. Let's look at Genesis chapter 2, picking it up at verse 7. He's going to say the same identical thing when you see it here. And the Spirit of God formed man or woman, of the dust of the ground. We got somebody in there. Me and my wife trying to figure out who that is. We don't know if it's a woman or a man. I say it's a woman. She says it's a man. But I would like to know, because somebody in here got their name Dust of the Ground. It's a cold-blooded name too. But I think it's a woman. But she thinks it's a man. I don't think brothers are that bright. But we'll find out. We'll find out one day. They'll put in there. If they put in there they're a man, okay, so be it. But I still think it's a woman. Anyway. The Spirit of God formed man of the dust of the ground, and he breathed. He put this spirit in him, and he's supposed to, when he move, we move. That's your, okay. I'm at the beginning. Yeah, she got a cold-blooded name. She got a cold name. So I was right. Actually, I got to let my wife know I was right. Excuse me. So the same thing we have here. The same identical thing we have here. So he formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And he became a living soul. He became a living soul. Clear. When he moved, we move. And we just went through part of this. Let's go back and recap some of this. Let's go back and just look at some of this. In John chapter 3, verse 8. John 3:8, and it's telling us again, it says, the wind bloweth where it lists, and thou hearest the sound there, but thou can't tell from which it cometh, and whether it goeth. So is everything that is brought forth for spirit. When he move, we move. When he moves, we move. Seeing the Spirit going where it wants. So the same thing is, we don't worry about where it's going because we following God. Don't worry about where he's going. Where you going? I don't know. I don't know what he got planned for me. What'd you do? I don't know. I don't know what he got planned for me. Because we have so much faith in God, that's where that faith need to be. So if you have faith, but some people say they had a faith, but they have not a drop of works behind it. Well, I'm covered under the blood. They just did teaching on that one too. Covered under the blood of Jesus. Elder Pittman ripped that apart. Just flipped it upside down. Go look at it. Go look at on Elder Pittman, line upon line, King KJBU, line upon. Go over there and look at it. And then when you finish that, go look at that Valley of Decisions. They've been slapping people all week. Elder T, Elder G, everybody just slapping people all week. Elder Lynn, everybody just been slapping everybody all week. One behind another one, sitting there, when he gonna stop? When is it? They just been slapping there all week. But faith without works don't have nothing. When he move, we don't move. He move, and we ain't moving. He moving, we ain't moving. I'm gonna stay right here. See, that's what we doing. Let's look at something in James chapter 2, looking at verse 17. Show you something here that makes it all clear again. And we want to understand what that's been. It says, even so, faith, if it have no works, not works, is dead. Being alone, all by itself, dead. When it blew, we didn't move. Because faith is a belief in an expectation of a doctrine that was taught to you. In people teaching, come to this building, come to that building. He ain't even there. He ain't even there. No, Lord over there. No, he ain't. He ain't there. The spiritual and what they understand. So spiritual is not working with the concordance. Don't have no understanding, all false understanding in that strong concordance. We already been seeing it, and we ain't even done with it. Well, this is what it means. Well, it means this right here. Really? Sacrifice means sacrifice. And he's telling you right there, he want a bloody nature sacrifice. Are you serious? Are you serious? This is the problem that we go through. This is the thing that we go through. This is the problem that every time we go around, we see. This is why I sit there and say, we had a problem. Let's look at verse 18. We're going to see something. Yea, a man say that he has faith and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works. I show thee my faith by my works. I'm going to show it to you. People will tell you sometimes, if y'all want this ministry to keep moving, y'all need to support the channel. Support the channel doing what? It's free. Y'all got to support the channel. It's free. If y'all like what y'all heard here, support the channel. It's free. I don't get it. I don't get it. So if a man say he have a belief and expectation, including his deeds, he should have been trusting in God. But then you have a faith, a belief, and expectation without the deeds behind it. Everyone will say that same identical thing every time. Every time they do that. Every time. They don't miss a beat. But let's look at this again. In John chapter 14 and verse 11, it says, believe me that I'm in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. When he moves, I'm moving. Philip, you ain't known me. And you want to see him? If you knew him, you sure would have known who I was. Christ is the spirit that is in flesh. Not saying Christ had blood. Christ has a lifestyle. Christ is giving you a lifestyle. But his blood was the lifestyle, the similitude on what we needed to know. Because he told us this from the beginning. Excuse me. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 50. Go right back and look at it to show you how much people not understanding these are similitudes that we needed to understand from the beginning. And it tells us right there again. I now say this. Now this I say, brother, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. So we know flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Why is this man telling you that the blood is the life and he's talking about he needs physical things done? And neither one can get into the kingdom. So it's a similitude. But they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get this. And people said, why I'm a member of the Church of Christ. People, I'm going to tell you right now, and say this with no apology. Every person that's sitting in there with their women, husbands, wives, children, and you sitting in it and you staying there, and you staying in it, and you telling your kids and your wife and your husband to stay there, and you already know flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Christ do not reside in buildings made with hands. God who made the heavens and the earth do not reside in temples made with hands, because you are the temple in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16. And you sit in there, you deserve to go to hell. You deserve to go to hell, and you should be there. You're a disgrace to your own family. You're a disgrace to your wife. You're a disgrace to your children. To sit there, to hold on to a lie because you don't want to sit there and say that you was in something that was false. You don't want to sit there and say you was boo-boo. You don't want to sit there and say that you lied on yourself. You don't want to sit there and just, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to say that. No, I got to stay right. So I want to stay right. So no matter what, I'm going to stay in here, even though it's wrong. And you cause that person to trip. You have all the rights in the world to go to the lake of fire, putting that person through that hell. You have every right to go there. This is the problem. Everybody should be done packed up. They should be done packed up and, hey, I got to go. I got to get up out of here. This is the problem that we have. We sit there and, oh, no, we want to hold on to this. We want to hold on to our friend. We want to hold on. Stay there. Stay there. You're a disgrace to your family. Sitting there because you making one of them trip. Because you sitting there acting like you're an angel of light and you're Satan. This is what you're doing. And think nothing about it. Walking around, and then as soon as you finish, you go put all this pork and all this filthiness in your mouth. And then first, I'm a member of the Church of Christ. You are. You guess what? You're going to be a member of the Church of Hell. It's telling you right up front, and we go right back to what he's saying over here, Deuteronomy. Let's go back over there and look at this again. And then we're going to move on a little bit more. In Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 23, and it made it so clear. So clear. It says, only be sure that thou learn not of the lifestyle. That's what it's telling you. That's what it's telling you. For the lifestyle is the life. Thou mayest not learn of that life with the flesh. Because flesh and blood can't inherit it. Flesh and blood can't inherit it. But we want to understand that. We want to understand what's going on. We need to understand and find out how this is functionally working. How this is functionally working. Let's go up a little bit. Let's move up a little bit. Because see, one thing, when you're dealing with a Hebraeus, when you're dealing with people who know doctrine, when you're dealing with people who will use the book and not trying to pump themselves up, and they trying to warn you on what you need to be doing, because you're going to bust hell wide open, and I'm not gaining or losing anything. I'm not gaining or losing nothing. You don't see me begging, can you please support this channel? Hell, is free. It's free. Let's look at something in Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 1. Show you something. Let's go here. Let's look at this. And it says, these are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Spirit of your God of thy fathers giveth thee to possess it all the days that ye live upon the earth. Period. But it gets better, because now we want to understand what this is saying. So what we're going to do, we're going to start breaking this down. I'm going to take my time for a minute because I need my moderators to make sure they put everything down. But if not, we can go over in another area. But I'm going to make sure you guys get this. So we know statutes is similitudes examples. So statutes is similitude examples. That's what the statutes are, or the similitude examples. But we know that judgments is the doctrines and teachings. I want you to keep this in mind. The doctrines and the judgments is the doctrine and teaching. I wonder what they say. I wonder what they have to say about it. Let me see what they got to say about it. I want to see what they say about it, what this is saying. So let's look at some of this. We want to see what this is saying. And we want to understand what that said. So I just want to see what they say judgment is. I'm just curious. Now I'm just being curious. I just want to be curious and see what that means. So we're looking at judgment here. We're going to hit there 1819, and we're going to click here, and we want to just see what it means. That's all. That's all. Just being nosy. Hey, we're being nosy. Okay, in judgments right there. Let's just look at what it says. Judgments. In judgments. Judgment means judgment. Oh boy. Judgment means judgment. Okay, so we got that. Judgment means judgment. Judgment means judgment. Okay, all right. Judgment means judgment. Judgment means doctrines and teachings. So it's telling you that these similitudes in doctrines and teachings which ye shall observe to do in the land. It's telling you this right here, right in front of you. Paleo Hebrew, I don't know where they get them words from, because you don't know. You don't, they actually tell you something. Excuse me, I need to drink me some water. Tell you a little something. Tell you a little something. Elder Jenkins was doing a Psalms class this morning. So he gave everybody an assignment. Okay. I'm in there. Okay. He said, I want everybody to go to one of these channels. And he told me what the channels was. So I want you to just stomach it for 30 minutes. And he tell people to move on. I'm sitting there, wait a minute, hold up a second. Dude, okay, so I had to get clarification. Hey, Elder, I need clarification. Now, I don't mind. If you want me to do it, I'm doing it. But I need clarification. And he's laughing, because it's funny to him. I already know you can't start. Yeah, dude, I just need to know. Do I have to go in there? Because I already know what's there. I already been there. I had to deal with that stuff. He said, yeah, no, you good. You said the elders are good, y'all good. Boy, but it was funny to him. But he don't know. That bothered me. I had to put my hand up. I had to find out what was going on. Dude, I got to listen to this for 30 minutes? Man, I might have to toss that up with a shot. Should I get a shot? Or should I listen to this? It would have been a toss-up. So we have to understand and observe these things. But then it's telling you what's more going on. Because we want to understand a couple of things on what they are. So he give us this to where we can get something. So as he stood, and then we know what blessings are, because blessings mean the giver of wisdom and knowledge and understanding is upon you. That's what that's talking about and what's going to go on. Based on if you get this. Based on if you're getting this. And with that, that's why he stood upon Mount Gerizim. Remember when he did that? He stood on Mount Gerizim. And then in another place, he stood on Mount Ebal. He had some other ones over there, which was curses. That's why he did that. But you see, even with the concordances, I have no idea what it's talking about. See, because it's talking about the curses that denounce with bitter ends. Gerizim is talking about the giver of wisdom where knowledge and understanding will be upon you. Let's see, let's look at it. Let's see what it's saying. Let's see what it's saying. Let's might well look at it, see what it's saying. And let's see what this says here. So we're going to put charism in there. We'll just see what it's talking about. We want to see what charism is talking about. So we're going to look at this charism, and we just want to see what it's talking about. And on Mount Gerizim, just to see what it's talking about. So Gerizim, cutting off. So he's telling you what's going on here, and he still ain't helping you out at all. It's actually kind of funny. It's actually kind of funny because you get all on Mount Gerizim, you being blessed. On Gerizim, you being blessed. On Ebal, you being cursed. But that's beside the point. Let's see on Ebal. Let's look on Ebal. Let's see what Ebal got to say here. And let's see. Let's see. In the stone or bare mountain. Wow. Excuse me. So we see you got issues everywhere. Issues everywhere. Everywhere you'll be in total disarray. But this is what people look for. But he tells you even more so. Watch what he says here in verse 2 in Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 2. He says, "He shall utterly destroy all places wherein nations which ye shall possess serve their gods upon high mountains, upon hills, under every green tree." So when you get there, don't do what they're doing, but you're going to destroy these places. You're going to not just destroy, you're going to utterly destroy these places. This is what I need you to do. You shall utterly destroy these places. This is what he's telling us right up front. And he's talking about it a little bit more. Because he's going to sit there and we're going to find out why more he's saying this. Because he don't want you to have that lifestyle which is in that blood, which is that. Let's look at this. And it says, "Ye shall overthrow their altars, their offering tables, and break their pillars." You say they pillars is their beliefs. You can look at it as elders sometimes, but it's beliefs. And it's telling you more so with it. It says, "Burn their grove with fire, including you shall hew down their graven images of their gods and destroy their ways out of that place." Boom. Boom. You see what's going on? You see what's happening here? Interesting. Why do we add such this interesting thing here? Because this offering table, we can't be doing what they're doing. It gets better though. We gotta look at verse 4. And we're gonna look at verse 5, which tells us this. It says, "But the place which the spirit of your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his way there." So everyone's going to be chosen, put his way there, even unto his habitation. "Ye shall seek thither, thou shalt come." He's telling you right up front what's going to happen. Right up front what's going to happen. So this is the problem. So now we know what this habitation is, but we're going to find out something where, again, they're going to find out what's wrong. We're going to look here, where it's another issue. And we're going to look at this, and the same thing is, we're going to see the same thing in that concordance thing over there. We're going to see the same thing. But I want you to see what it's going to say here. It says, "And thither you should bring your burnt offering." Your burnt offering. So we need to know what burnt offering is. Let's look at this. Burnt. And I already have it over here, but I'm gonna just do it here real quick. And where is it? That's it. Okay. So I don't know if it's together or what it is, but let's find out what's going on. Because I'm gonna tell you what it is on our end, and then I'm gonna show you what their end, what it says, but then we're gonna do it on our end, what it's talking about. So It's actually going to be funny. It's actually funny. But it's telling you right here, burnt offering is burnt offering. Burnt sacrifice, incense, go up, whole burnt offering, incense, stairway, steps. Now, I don't want my moderator to put it in there yet. But this is what a burnt offering is. They're telling you what it is. This is why I say it's so weird when you sit there and you don't know what paleo. People don't understand when you over here, you understand precepts. You understand paleo because you understand the words that's being spoken to you, because now you're not looking at the front of you, you're looking at it in the spiritual. So you get it. So burnt offering. Everybody should look at it like, man, dang, that's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Because that's not what that means. Burnt offering is burnt offering. So now they can interpret and put whatever they want in the burnt offering. They can put whatever they want to put there. So we need to understand what this is. And let's go over here real quick. So we want to look at this burnt offering. And we're going to put it here. Let me put it here. So we're going to put it in burnt offering. So we want to put in burnt offering. And a burnt offering is a living gift. That's what it is. So burnt offerings is a living gift. That's what it is. So we're gonna see how much sense it's gonna make. Oh shoot, is this here? I'm sorry. It's living gifts. That's what it is. Strong Concordance saying something else. But that's what it is. It's a living gift. So we want to understand that. So let's go back. Let's go back and get some understanding here. So it's telling you right here. It's saying in there you should bring your burnt offerings. So you got to bring your burnt offerings, including your sacrifices. So you got to bring your living gifts in your sacrifices. Watch. So this Paul, actually, let's go to somewhere. Let's go to Paul. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 1. It's going to run you there automatically. Why? Because we use precepts. It says, I beseech thee, therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, a living gift. Present your body as a living gift, separated, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Now, let's go back over here. In there, you should bring your living gifts in your established covenants. Remember we had that sacrifice? Actually, just in case you forgot, let's go look at it. Make sure we still on the same page. Remember this one? Sacrifice? Remember that one? Our established covenants, our vows. Remember that? So we can't sit there and trip. We can't sit there and trip. So we have to present these established covenants, including our tithes. The people, what about the tithe? Tithes is not. Actually, what do you say in tithes? Let's look at tithes. Let's see what tithes are. Let's see here. I don't know what they got in. Let's see what they have for tithes. Might well look at what tithes are. Might well look at what it is here. And right here. Tithes. 10 part 10 tithing. 10 part 10 tithe payment. Okay. So you give a tithe, give a tenth. Give a tithe, give a tenth. Okay. I don't, but this is the craziness. But a tithe is telling you what tithe is. A tithe is in your portions, including heave offerings, your heave offerings, your confirmed faith gifts of your own power, of your own power. You do this. The reason why he's saying that, because you're going to see something. I'm going to show you something. Let's look at something real quick, and we're going to go back. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 1, picking it up at verse 3. Because it's telling you right here. And that's why Paul said you got to present that as living sacrifice. It says, and if his gifts be a living established covenant, and a living vow of the herd, let him offer it without blemish. Without blemish is mean without conditions. But I wonder what they got it is. Let's see what blemish. Might well see what this is. Might well check what everything is. Might well see what stuff is. Might well we hear. We might well check it. So blemish, we're gonna see what it is. We're gonna see what it is. So it got to be without blemish. So a blemish, without blemish, got to be perfect. Got to be upright, without spot, upright, holy, sacred. Okay, complete, whole, entirely sound. Okay, that's what y'all got to do. That don't even make sense. Y'all got to be. You see. Our moderator already put it in without blemish, without conditions. It can't have a condition on it. Don't sit there and offer something to God and say, God, but I can't do it on this way. God, I'm gonna do this, but I can't. But you put a condition on it. Well, I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna put this condition on it. How you gonna get that over there? You got to be perfect, upright, without blemish. You got people out there right now. They over there in that country looking for a perfect red cow without blemish. You ain't found a little spot. You're gonna always find something on him. All it's saying is without a condition. Oh boy. But that's beside. See, so it got to be without condition. And he shall offer it at his own voluntary will. That's why you got to offer it voluntary, and you can't put no conditions on it. None. At the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Spirit of God, in the presence of the Spirit of God. It can't have not one condition on it. Well, I'm going to give it, but you can't kill it. I'm going to give it, but you can't do this with it. I'm going to give it, but don't do that. It can't have conditions on it. But it gets better. In your sacrifice, in your part, it's telling you you're offering at your hand, in your vows, your pledges that you got to do, including your free will offering, what we just talked about, of the firstlings, these firstborn, the firstborn of the herd and of your flocks. Is this making sense to everybody? Please tell me, please. Is this making sense to anybody? Is this making sense to anybody seeing it with the Paleo-Hebrew translation parts of this? Is this making sense to anybody? Please just tell me, is it making sense? Because I'm telling you, this is a crack up. I'm telling you, it's funny because we have people, they're going to keep running. They're going to keep running to that strong concordance. And you see they're not getting no understanding nowhere. Nowhere. It's comical. This is actually, just tell you a short little story before we move forward. Just a short little story. And what happens when I get on places like this, sometimes we get, I do deal with some Jewish men that call themselves rabbis. I do deal with, it's a large group of them, and they in high level areas. The thing is, when they see me beat up people like this, where these men thinking they at the high levels, they call themselves gonna call me, and they'll send me email calling themselves reprimanding me. Why you messing with them? Why are you doing this to them? You know your knowledge of the Bible far exceeds them. That was unfair. You shouldn't have did them this way. I get it all the time. They sit there and say, you know you can crush them out. Why do you even do? Because you got these little hyenas keep running around. And see, and the main thing is, I don't play with them. I don't have time to play with them. Same as I told the ones that won over the radio station. Same thing, like they were trying to sit there and actually try to let it kind of be like a friendly thing. No, I'm not your friend. So don't try to sit there and make me seem like I'm going to be your friend, because it's never going to happen. Never, ever going to happen. I'm not your, anyone over there with Fifth Ward, I'm not your friend. Ever. I'm not here to play games with you. I'm here to expose your doctrine and show you how ignorant it is on what you teach. And you guys take it as if it's we're going to play back and forth. I'm not here to play back and forth. I'm here to expose your doctrine to free people from your bondage. That's it. I'm not here to be your friend. So they come out and they want to shake. Don't know, because I will not shake your hand. This is the whole thing. You see, this is why they had that problem. So the same thing is what goes on here and what's happening here and what we're looking at. So when you're looking at the eat and you're seeing this before and all this learning, you see what's going on. It's telling you all what's going on. And you see this where you see even before. Actually, that's the one I wanted to show you. Before is crazy. Before is crazy. Now before, I got to show you this. I got to show you this. This is crazy. I got to delete these. I have to delete these. But this is crazy. Is everybody sitting down? Because you need to be sitting down on what I'm going to show you. You need to be sitting down. Because if you ain't sitting down, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to shock you half to death. I'm going to show you the befores. They got these befores. So they got a bunch of befores. And I'm going to sit there. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to show you. I'm going to have to put some up because there's too many of them. So I'm going to have to put some of them up and take some of them down. So these are the before. And it's just a long line. So this is what before means. You see right here, it's telling you that it means before. It's telling you right up here, before. And they have it where it means a whole bunch of stuff. They over here 1,100 times. They got a whole bunch of stuff, but they ain't done yet. I got to take these. Let me take these down because there's a bunch of them. It's a bunch of them. And I'm going to keep going. And actually, this goes for about 9-10 times. And this is, see, before to be set. You see right there? To be set. And then it got another, before it be, before it be determined, before it fall down, before it go, before it instruct, before it never. Look at this. I was just wondering, before. Before. Tons of them. Before preach, before run, before say, before see, before set, before show, before speak. I'm telling you, it's tons of these. And it is, shoot, I got about 8 more to go. But I'm not going to even bother you with it. But before is this. Before is this. That's what it is. Right there. Right there. You got it. I'm telling you, it's comical. It's comical. And just to look at this, and I'm talking, they got so many of them. It's, excuse me, because they just have too many of them. So we'll see, it says the earth was corrupt before God. I want you to understand. So the earth was corrupt in the presence of God. That's all that's saying. That's all it's saying. And let's look at this. It says, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me and come in the presence of me. That's all it said. But they sitting there, it means so much more stuff. You just can't quite put your name on it. This other stuff. Yeah, it's comical. And you see, this is why it says in the Lord's, actually we got that one. Let's go to another one. And we'll see, he commanded her before Pharaoh, in the presence of Pharaoh. He commanded her in the presence of Pharaoh. And the women was taken unto Pharaoh's house. That's all it's saying. But you see what the issue is. You see what the issue is. But I'm gonna hold up right here because I'm gonna see what they want to do. I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna see what they want to do. But the same thing is, we know blood is the lifestyle in the life, and bloody, as he's saying, bloody on what he's saying. God requires a bloody nature, and you even see right here, Faithful Abraham, the friend of God, understood the importance of offering bloody sacrifices to God. I want y'all to think about that for a second. I want y'all to just sit and think about it. Just sit and think about it. This is people who go to the churches of Christ. He under Abraham, and Abraham was called a friend of God. Bloody. And I showed you what bloody means. Let's go to it again. Then we're going to find it with understanding. Then we're going to see it with understanding. Remember, bloody mean cruel, merciless, murder, lifeless, and a few others. Remember that. Remember I showed you that. We see what blood is and blood is. Blood is life and lifestyle. But he's telling you right up front what Abraham is. Abraham, the friend of God, understood the importance of offering bloody sacrifices to God. I want you to understand that. I want that to sink in. Everybody sitting down. If you ain't sitting down, I don't need to go with it, because you need to be sitting down with this. So what we want to do here, we want to go here. We want to go there. Just pull them all here and we're going to look at them. We can go right down through them and you'll see where all bloody is. So we're going to look at bloody and we're going to find out where the issue is. So bloody is the thing here. So Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut the foreskin of her son, which was Moses' son. But it says, and cast it at his feet, meaning at his desires, because that's what he wanted done. And said, surely a bloody husband thou art, A-R-T, perfection and beauty thou to me. Meaning it's bloody. So she's telling him right up front that thou surely a cruel, a merciless husband in your beauty and perfection thou to me. That's what she said. Let's go back to the next verse. So he let him go. She said, and she's going to repeat it again, a bloody husband, a cruel, merciless husband, thou in perfection and beauty because of the circumcision. You did this, you was cruel, you merciless. That's what she's saying. Why? Because he ended up leaving her with the daddy. But when you see what they saying it is, you can see the craziness. But let's go on and let's look at it a little bit more. Now the semi, the curse, come out. Thou bloody man, thou merciless, thou murderous man. We can go down. We can go down wherever you want, whatever one you want bloody at. Because it's telling you, thou shalt destroy them and speak leasing. And the Spirit of God will hate the bloody and deceitful man. He's going to hate the murderous, the lifeless, the cruel and deceitful man. Now, he's saying it said the Spirit of God will hate them. But you see what he's saying here. I want you to pay attention to what he's saying. He said, God demands this sacrifice of a bloody nature. God demands this. Abraham, a friend of God, he understood it. And the importance of offering bloody sacrifices. He understood it. So he said Abraham was offering these things that way. He's offering them. But it's telling you, in the Spirit of God will hate you. He's going to hate you for it. But the problem is, why would I become a member of the Church of Christ and they teach in this kind of error? If they got these little bits wrong, do you know how other parts they're going to get merciless wrong? This is crazy. Let's look at Psalms. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity. Deliver me from the workers and save me from bloody men, cruel and merciless men. Save me from these murderous and lifeless men. But Abraham was cool with God because he was offering those. excuse me, he was offering those. So again, I say this again. Anyone that sits under the churches of Christ and you sit there and you hold to it, and you see it right now, their doctrine is screwed. I'm showing it right to you. It's in front of you that their doctrine is screwed up. And you still sit there, well, they got this part wrong. They got all of it wrong. Because I'm going through all your book. I just took the time out because someone was talking little trash like little hyenas. But just like I said before, I said this and I made myself pretty clear. And as the doctrine of the Bible is very clear, they don't know the doctrine in the Bible. And if you hold to it, you have every right, and you reserving your seat in the lake of fire. And deservingly, you should go there. Because you choose to sit there under a doctrine and you see it's a lie. Because this is in your book. Why you became a member and why you are a member of the churches of Christ. You see, they don't have the slightest idea what they're speaking of. They don't have the slightest idea to understand anything. But you will sit there under men who literally don't know the Bible. Period. This is a problem. So same thing what I'm going to do, and I told my mom I was going to, but I'm going to still do it. I'm going to still do this. Yeah, I'm gonna open Zoom, and I'm sit there, same thing like I said. They have the full ability to come back here. And they want to sit there and they want to show any part where we were wrong. What I showed was off. Please come there. And I promise you, we will sit there, and if you show where I did that wrong, and same as that one lying guy, that Corey guy who lies, we will shut down every King James Bible University page we have. Shut every one of them down. Why? Because we don't need to be teaching no kind of doctrine if we're lying. Nothing. That's my promise to you. And matter of fact, you see it live. You hear it live right now. So if that's the truth, we can bring that forward, and I will make sure you understand it. But the main thing you make sure of is what is happening. So right now, if you guys refresh your screen, you can look down in the description, and you will actually see it. And my mom, don't worry, I'm sending it to you right now, where you have it to where you can come in on your phone. And I just sent it to you. But the same thing, like I said, I can go way more in on you because I got a lot more because you're too easy to do. The churches of Christ is way too easy to do. You got your doctrine is too simple. Your doctrine is one of the 45,000 plus false doctrines. That's why you're so easy to do. That's why you're so easy to be done. So with that, I'm going to go in Zoom. If you want to come back there, if somebody else want to come back there and they from the Church of Christ, they want to leave, come back there. We don't sit there and beat you up. We don't, because they'll teach that. That's what they teach. Oh, we come back there, we beat. That's nowhere near the truth. You can't even find nobody who said they went back there and that happened to them. Because that's something we don't do. But what I do, I hear you out. What I will do, if you want to know what the truth is, you come there. You want to find out what's going on because you just seen yourself. Using that strong concordance will keep you into false doctrine to where they can interpret it any kind of way that they want to. But when you messing with the Paleo-Hebrew keywords, you stuck on truth. You can't get around it. This is why we do what we do over here. This is why we are who we are. This is why King James Bible University. This is why Precept Mastery. This is why the House of the Lost Sheep of Israel. This is why the KJBU, line upon line. This is why we stand on truth. This is why we are who we are. This is why people who come over here, they learn at an accelerated rate. because they learn doctrine of the Bible and not learning about, oh, they need to get me this and they need to pay me this and they need to help build a kingdom and I need money for this and I need. No, we don't get that. So with that, and we'll make sure that you're part of what's going on. So with that, I say to each and every person, until next time. Until next time. I see you in the back. So until next time, I say to each and every person, shalom.